we're going to be talking about a new solution from B2b Technologies called ClassConnect 365. And in a nutshell, we'll go into much more detail about what this actually entails. But in a nutshell, looking at Office 365 from Microsoft, and the inclusion last year of SharePoint Online, and then more recently, the release of the service upgrade, what some of you might recognize or know as Wave 15. Some of the changes that came along with that update really creates an environment that we think is very, very compelling for learning management and for classroom collaboration. And so B2b Technologies has developed a solution called ClassConnect 365 that takes advantage of that fact. So it takes advantage of the Office 365 platform, some of the new capabilities there that we think makes it really applicable to education even more so than it's been in the past. And so this call is really to introduce that solution to you, and we'll go into more details about what that is here in just a moment. So before we talk about the actual solution and go into a demonstration here, I just want to introduce B2b Technologies for those on the phone who may not already be familiar with us and our services. So we are a Microsoft Gold partner. We've been a Gold partner for, I think, going on 14 or 15 years now. So we have a lot of experience working with the Microsoft platform, and especially with SharePoint. We'll talk a little bit here in just a moment about some of the other things that we've done within SharePoint, but also within the cloud environment now more recently. And I see some feedback here that my audio is chopping up. I'm going to try and remedy that for you here. And Jennifer, please let me know if it becomes really difficult to hear, and I apologize for any choppiness that you're hearing here. So just a little bit about B2b Technology. As I mentioned, we're a Gold Microsoft partner. We actually cover the entire Microsoft stack, everything from portals and collaboration to the SharePoint stuff, through all other aspects of SharePoint, such as business intelligence and content management. But we also have a very strong messaging and infrastructure practice as well. And then pure software development. We actually started off as a .NET developer way back in our early days. Looking at our client base and what types of engagements and projects we're really involved in, one of the unique things about B2b Technologies is we do have a large commercial practice, but education accounts for roughly 45%, 44% of our business. So we are very, very tuned into education, very tuned into what the needs are of our education clients, and have a lot of experience in the industry. So just a couple things as we get started here. I really want to talk specifically about our SharePoint practice as well as our Office 365 or our cloud practice. So within SharePoint, we have had more than 189 full SharePoint implementations since 2001. So we have some very deep roots there in terms of our understanding of SharePoint. And we're super excited that SharePoint Online is now part of Office 365. And for the uninitiated, that of course means that it's available at no cost to K-12 districts and higher ed institutions. So even before SharePoint was introduced to Office 365, looking at SharePoint 2010 and previous versions on premise, we've done quite a bit of work here and have a couple of solutions that I'd just like to highlight here. So, for example, we have another webcast that I encourage you to view, especially if you're in higher ed, talking about our course catalog management system at the University of Florida. In this case, they had a lot of challenges coordinating the updating of the course management course catalog, which needed to happen on an ongoing basis, but at the very least at an annual basis. And so there was a very complex process there, and we managed to use SharePoint to turn that into a streamlined workflow where more people could be involved in the process. You could get the right people, adding the right information and taking on the right responsibilities there, and really just to get streamlining the whole process. We have a whole other webcast dedicated to that. Again, I encourage you to go view it. We also have quite a bit of experience building out collaborative portals within education, especially in K-12. We have several districts, about 4, which are references that we can provide you. School districts that have leveraged SharePoint for either their external-facing website and their intranet portal, or just for their intranet portal. So we have a lot of experience working with school districts, helping them understand how they can bring students and faculty together using this environment, how they can take the best advantage of SharePoint that they have implemented there. So moving on, I just want to talk about our cloud expertise, which is sort of the other side of this solution. So many of you are probably familiar with Live@edu. That's been around for a long time, and that was really exchange-based email offered at no cost to education entities. And more recently, with Office 365, which is the successor to Live@edu, they introduced SharePoint Online as well as Link Online to really round out that environment. So SharePoint Online provides that collaborative platform that we're leveraging here for our Classroom Connect solution. So again, we're really excited about this sort of convergence that we see here. It's really especially interesting for us at B2b because we have such a long history working with SharePoint. We're really excited that we're now able to bring SharePoint-based solutions to a broader number of education customers because they no longer have the expense and management and other things that come along with hosting SharePoint on-premise. So SharePoint Online, really powerful platform, takes the collaboration that you can do through Exchange Online to a whole other level and turns Office 365 into something that's really quite different than what we've had with Live@edu in the past. And so needless to say, we're certainly excited about the direction that Office 365 is taking, and especially with this latest service upgrade, we see some really great opportunities for education, as you'll see in just a moment. Just a quick background on our cloud experience. We were actually one of the first to move a client to Office 365. It happened to be Georgia State University. In this case, they were actually one of the first on Office 365 at all, just not only Office 365 for education, but we actually put them onto Office 365 while it was still in beta. So it was not even a commercial product at that point. And since then, we've moved many, many more clients and many, many more mailboxes. More recently, Microsoft reached out to us. We have a very close relationship with Microsoft, and recently, at the beginning of this year, they reached out to us to help move Live@edu clients over to Office 365 because we're trying to help all those existing Live@edu clients get onto the new platform and take advantage of all that it has to offer. And so we were fortunate to be selected as one of the partners to support that effort. So, Jennifer, I was wondering if we could go ahead and run the surveys that we have prepared. I'd like to get a little bit more information just about our audience that we have online and what sort of platforms and capabilities you're employing currently within your district or school.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and run the first one. What type of LMS solution do you have right now? And so I'm launching that. If you guys want to go ahead and take about 30 seconds to vote. Okay, we've got just a few more people coming in. And looks like we can go ahead and close the poll. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we can share the results here. So David, that lets you know about where we're at for our attendees right now on which solution they're using. Are you ready for me to go back to you now, or just run the other poll?
For some reason, I'm actually not seeing it, Jennifer. Can you summarize the results that we see there?
Okay, so we looked at about 14% is desire to learn, 43% is Blackboard. We've got 14% for Moodle. there's currently no one using a custom-built solution, and we have 30% using something different. So 30% is kind of big. We might want to ask them what they're using, for something else down the road. So does that help you out? Do you want me to pass off to you now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for giving me the rundown there. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing it on my screen, but I appreciate that. So it sounds like we have a pretty good mix of the well-known learning management platforms that are out there on the call. And one of the interesting things that we've seen as we've been talking with districts and colleges about this is that I want to be clear about what we're presenting here with this ClassConnect 365 solution. We found that, especially in K-12, there are many schools who have not quite invested in a learning management system strategy yet. They're still considering different options there. And with Office 365 available and something like the ClassConnect 365 solution that we're putting in place, we think we can capture the 90% of the different capabilities that you would find in an LMS that are really being used within K-12 on a day-to-day basis. So we do think that SharePoint on its own, with some customization like through the ClassConnect solution here, can really function, can be a functional LMS for K-12. That said, we work very closely with Microsoft. We know that people are have already invested time and years and training and all those things into tools such as Blackboard and Moodle or Desire to Learn and other systems. And so on the other side of this, we also see opportunities for integration there. So Microsoft in particular has some really interesting integration with Moodle that we are helping them with. So there are always opportunities for integration there. But again, we believe that SharePoint on its own there's been some changes recently that I'll highlight as we go into the demo here that we think really make it a much more viable platform now for learning management than it's been in the past. So with that, I just want to talk a little bit about what this ClassConnect solution is, what the impetus behind it is. So we wanted to help people realize, especially in K-12 and in education in general, we wanted to help Office 365 customers really realize the full value of the platform. For many of the clients that we work with and many new Office 365 customers, this is the first time that they really have SharePoint in their environment. And if you have SharePoint, if you've used SharePoint in the past, you probably understand that it can be a bit daunting, that you need some direction, you need some planning to really be successful at deploying SharePoint. So here we have a really powerful and flexible platform without all of the overhead of having to manage it and administer it. It's available at no cost to Office 365 education customers. And so it's really about how we take that, all of that raw potential that's there with Office 365 and turn it into something that is really useful and valuable for the education market. And that's the real emphasis behind this Office 365 solution that we've created, ClassConnect 365. So when we thought about what we should do, how we can actually do that most effectively, we had the thought of trying to template out an entire intranet portal or maybe an external website. We have those skills and that expertise. We have that experience, and so we certainly do that type of work with a lot of our clients. But we wanted something that would be a great kind of entry point, but with a lot of value, and something that would take SharePoint into a different space, leverage its capabilities for something that we haven't seen fully realized yet in education, and that's really for the learning environment itself. And so with this tool, what we did is we focused on the classroom experience itself, and I say classroom pretty broadly here. So what I'm really talking about is the collaboration that happens between students, other students, teachers, and teachers with their peers. So we really wanted to take that experience, and we wanted to be able to provision classes based on information that's in your student information system, so that you could have these class sites provisioned out. But it's really about having these sites for classes. And then we wanted to provide a tool that again, leverages all that raw flexibility of SharePoint and makes it more accessible, sort of leads the way in terms of how you could use this for learning management. And of course, one of the key values of doing this on SharePoint Online is that you can do all this. You can grant that flexibility to your educators and your students to to take control of that environment and use it in a variety of different ways to create some very compelling experiences. And you can do that without having to give up the administrative control or the security. This is SharePoint. Its security, its privacy has been tested and proven over its long history, and SharePoint Online is being used by government entities and corporate entities around the world as well. So it's a trusted platform, and Microsoft has invested quite a bit to ensure that security and privacy are super important there, again, without limiting the flexibility and the freedom that you give your users. So I talked a lot about what our goals were here. Let's go ahead and let me go ahead and flip over here and talk more specifically about what the solution itself actually is. So when we say solution, there is something deployable here, and that is these ClassConnect 365 site templates, the templates that I spoke about for the class experience. And and that's what I'll be demonstrating here in just a moment, is what that experience looks like from a user perspective. Now, those templates are really only part of it, though, and in fact, we're going to make the class template that we're using here today, we're going to publish that at no cost to the Office 365, or I'm sorry, the Microsoft Office Store, to use the proper term. But through SharePoint Online, you can go out to that Office Store and that Office Market, and we'll be able to download these templates and deploy them in your environment at no cost. Now, that having a template here, a little bit about the template. We'll see more of this as we go into the demo. But templates, at least in their current stage, we were very conscious not to have any sort of custom code in there. These are sort of code-free solutions that are leveraging some of the more advanced capabilities of SharePoint, those out-of-the-box capabilities, things you can do with permissions, things you can do with document sharing, how you can set up libraries and lists in some exciting ways to really take SharePoint and turn it into the type of environment that you want for the classroom. Things like assignment Dropboxes, for example, is one of the capabilities that we'll see here. So with the site templates, we're going, we'll make those available to you, and you can deploy those in sort of a one-off scenario. Where we really see the difference between, having pockets of this sort of learning management environment or pockets of SharePoint being used in your environment, and something that is more manageable and something that can be deployed systematically. The real key there is around provisioning. And it's around provisioning from your student information system data and other data, so that we can provision all the classroom sites based on this template, or even a modified or tweaked template that you would want in your district. Take that and deploy that using student information system data as the engine behind that. So we have a provisioning engine to do just that, and it will also take your students and enrollment data and assign students to the classes as well. So that we think is one of the largest hurdles. It's creating the environment, understanding the environment, how you can do some of the more interesting things with SharePoint to provide the type of experience that users want in education, but then also really provisioning and how you can do that effectively. So those are the first two components of the solution: is the templates themselves, free of charge, the provisioning, which is an engagement with B2b, and then of course there's the ongoing care and feeding and support. So we have a support arrangement as well that we can make, and that includes an annual class site refresh using that same provisioning engine. So during that, we'll archive off the old, we'll archive off the class sites from the previous semester and implement new class sites that are clean and provide some guidance there. So those are things that you could do on your own. But again, we really find that the key to success, if you're moving into something like this, is being able to manage it from that top level, from that top-down type of approach, and to manage it effectively so that all the provisioning and stuff can happen accordingly. So in a moment here, I'm going to demonstrate. I know I've been talking to you for about 10 or 15 minutes here, so I want to jump right in and get to a demonstration of what these site templates look like. Just a couple things, a couple of details about what we're going to see. So again, these are pre-built class site templates designed to enhance collaboration among students and teachers. The goal here, again, is not to create an entire intranet portal, but to really create the that classroom experience, which we think is sort of the core to getting to encouraging adoption within education. It's really, I think anybody on this call probably knows that within education, getting buy-in from both the teachers and the students on new technology is sometimes difficult because we know that time is always an issue, and so the challenge is to really provide something that's valuable and saves them time or saves them effort or allows them to do some more exciting things than they could do without that technology. And so that's where we wanted to focus, is on these class site templates that could do just that. No cost at the Office Store. I saw somebody ask when that would be available. We're actually we're working out some of the details on publishing that, but we hope to have that done within 2 to 3 weeks here. Hopefully 2 weeks, hopefully in time for ISTE, if anybody's attending the ISTE conference. So a couple things that we'll see, I won't go into details here, but the Syllabus with an integrated calendar solution, assignment Dropboxes, as we talked about, which is pretty interesting. I'm really leveraging the Newsfeed and the discussions and some of the other things that Microsoft has provided. Lastly, I'll just say that we're showing you here sort of where we are at this at this stage, which we believe is pretty compelling. But we're also looking at additional capabilities that haven't quite made it in yet. So we're sort of weighing the value of these different things such as seating charts, for instance, or access to standards located in some sort of central location for educators. Just to name a couple of different ideas that we're tossing around. So our hope is to put these templates up there, but to leverage the Office Store so that they can become something that gets regular updates and something that's a little bit more organic, and we can bring more and more capabilities to these and to those customers who are engaged with us on utilizing these templates in the classroom. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over here, and we'll get into the demonstration here. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to cheat just a little bit here. So in this demonstration, we won't go through a complete sort of day in the life just for the sake of time here, but I will play a couple of different roles here as both a teacher and a student to give you an idea of what this environment provides. To start off, though, I just want to tell you why I'm so excited about what's happening with Office 365 and this latest and the latest service upgrade, this Wave 15 that has recently been released. Just as a quick aside, the Wave 15, this service upgrade, is being rolled out now, and Microsoft expects that all of the Office 365 for education customers who were already on Office 365 prior to Wave 15, or those who are moving from Live at EDU to Office 365, I believe they should have that Wave 15 upgrade there by at least the beginning of calendar year 2014. I'm not sure what the latest dates are on it, but I do know that it's right around the corner if you don't have it already. So the best way to do this, again, is just to sort of frame this in terms of what we've seen before and what's going on with this Wave 15 and why we're so excited about it. So what you see on the screen right now, I'm logged in as myself, David Norris, and in this case I'm playing the role of an educator or U.S. history, an 8th grade U.S. history teacher. And we'll see that site that's dedicated to that class here in just a moment. But I'm starting off here in Outlook just to kind of lead us there. So Outlook has been a part of Live at EDU and Office 365 for a long time. And Outlook, as we all know, is a very personalized experience. And that's the that's really the key goal there, is to have that personalized experience. It's my messages, my mail, my people, my calendar, all of those things. Now, what we've seen in the past with Office 365 and with SharePoint Online is that SharePoint was being provided online from a sort of from a hierarchy where you're sort of looking from the top level down, right? So you might start at the district level site and then drill down to individual classes. And that's not really the best environment, the best approach. There are some things that you could do to tweak that and make it work a little bit different. But that's not really the approach I think that most educators and students are looking for. What they're really looking for is that type of experience that Outlook has always provided, which is what's the information that's important to me, and put me at the center of the experience. And that's why we think the time is right to really start looking at SharePoint as a learning management environment, because with this latest service upgrade, it's putting the user at the center of the experience. So that it's much more organic in terms of how I can access the information that's important to me, how I can collaborate with others. All that stuff is right up front now. I don't have to dig through a sort of structured hierarchy to get there. And so to show you what I'm talking about here, Outlook here, the calendar and the people pieces, these are all part of that Exchange environment. So I won't go into detail there. But if we think about what SharePoint provides with Office 365, it's actually been broken out into these three main navigation elements here. The first is the Newsfeed, and I'll just select that briefly here. We'll come back to it. The Newsfeed becomes very important because while we're talking about having classroom site templates, and a class is a place you go to within SharePoint. It's a site you go to and you can participate there. One of the things that's really exciting about this environment is that this is the idea of sort of aggregating content from all the different sources that are important to me. So as a teacher in this case, not only am I interested in what my students have to say and what's going on in the classes that I'm teaching, but I also might want to know district news, or I might want to, if there's some sort of update to our health plan or something from human resources, that information is very important to me as well. And so the Newsfeed allows me to subscribe or follow content on a variety of different, on all the different sites that I'm a member of. I can follow content there, and it's going to aggregate it there for me, as this Newsfeed. Obviously social networks like Facebook, for example, very sort of similar experience there, right, where you have your wall, all the latest things that are going on with all the people that are important to you in that case. Here it's not only people, it's what's happening with documents, what's happening with information in a variety of different forms. Now, not only, this Newsfeed is not only the place where I just view this stuff, but as I participate in sites like the ClassConnect site that I'll show you here in just a moment, that information surfaces here, but I can actually reply directly to things going on in that class. So this was posted to the class discussion board, this question about what this teacher can, what this picture rather can teach us about the civil rights movement and school integration. So that was something that was posted for my students. So as my students are responding to this, I can read their responses right there in my Newsfeed, along with that, human resources information or whatever else might be there. Not only that, but I can even start new discussions from here. So behind the scenes, right, I have this ClassConnect site. We'll show you in just a moment. But one of the key things here is that I can go ahead and send a message to all my U.S. history students who participate in that ClassConnect 365 site. And I can start that right here. I don't actually have to go out to the site to do it. Just a couple of other things. You'll see as I go into the site and as we work with this a little bit, I can follow people and documents and sites. I can follow specific tags. Some of the more interesting things that we'll see here is that you can use hashtags and mentions and things like that your students and educators are already familiar with from other social networking types of environments. So all that is available here. Again, the Newsfeed is just part of Office 365. I like showing it because this is really this was really sort of the piece I think that helped make it click, this whole learning management experience. That it's not always about going to a specific site, right? It's about being able to maintain the access to the information and the people that are important to you. And the Newsfeed is really what drives that. The Skydrive, you're going to hear plenty about the Skydrive from Microsoft. Just because we're here, I'll describe it to you. Skydrive is basically SharePoint storage. It's personal storage for a user. And with the service upgrade with Wave 15, each user gets 7 gigabytes of storage that they can use for their personal Skydrive. So think of this as the place where you might post documents that you're working on, but you're not quite ready to publish and share with others, or just documents that might just be useful for yourself and not something you intend to share. Those types of things would go into your Skydrive. A lot of the learning content that we're going to be talking about here today really belongs in a site, once it's been published or it's complete. And so with that, let me go ahead and go to sites. I've spent a little bit of time here sort of talking about the structure of Office 365. I think it's really important because it's this structure, that student-centric type of experience that is available now, that really drove us to create the Office, the ClassConnect 365 solution that we're talking about here today. So in that same vein, when I go to sites, rather than being dropped off at a top-level site within Office 365, within SharePoint Online, I'm actually just presented with a list of sites that are already deemed to be valuable and useful to me. Some of those sites have been promoted, so they're sort of managed sites. So the district, in this case, might want me to have ready access to the district homepage. Some other things like communities are capabilities within SharePoint that allow people to collaborate in some interesting ways. So those are promoted sites, things that are sort of broadcast as being important to me. But then the more valuable places are the sites that I'm following. And so when I go to a specific site, I can elect to follow that site, and it's going to show up in this list. So these are really the sites that are most important to me. These are the things that I'm really following. And one of those is the U.S. History site, and this is the one that we've actually based on our template. So I'm going to go ahead and select that and show you what this this ClassConnect 365 template looks like. So what you're seeing here is the template. The only thing here that is really sort of customized over the template that we would provide is the content itself. But the different capabilities, the custom list, the assignment Dropbox, what we're doing with calendars, how the home page is structured, all of those things will be a part of the template. But of course, the goal is to fill that with your own content. And of course, leveraging Office 365, they've got a great engine to apply different themes and color schemes that's about as easy to use as PowerPoint, and to change logos and stuff. So it's highly customizable, this environment. But what we want to do is we want to lay the framework for the types of activities that students and educators participate in most. So what we're seeing here first is just the home page for the site. And we wanted to have a place, of course, where the educators just right at the top can come in and they can edit this stuff. If you haven't seen SharePoint Online in the past with, based on the latest version of SharePoint, editing that, if I have the permission to edit it, I only see this bar here because I happen to be the administrator of the site as a teacher. Editing this stuff becomes, as simple as editing something in Word or PowerPoint. I can come in here and add things and type new stuff, change the quote of the day if I want here, or put something else there instead. One of the more interesting things that we have in here, just as an example, is the ability to add snippets. And this is actually an embed tag from YouTube. So in this case, we're in the civil rights unit right now within this class. And so there's a lot of great public domain YouTube, public domain videos have been published to YouTube that become very useful. And of course, with SharePoint, you can play this stuff right within the browser itself. So we can really turn this into a very compelling experience with a lot of rich media. So again, just taking advantage of kind of the basic SharePoint stuff that's there that we think is just really useful to education. So I'm going to come back to the Newsfeed and some of these other elements here in just a moment. I'm going to jump in as a student, and we'll go through some of these. What I wanted to do first was just talk about sort of the structure of the site, some of the different things that we've provided. So I'm just going to save my edits here so that can go away. So we're on the home page here. One of the things that one of the possibilities within Office 365 is the inclusion of a notebook. And so we think that this is a great idea for classes. Some of the different educators that we surveyed and interviewed and spoke with about this particular solution really like this idea of a centralized class notebook different, with some different ideas on what what might be in this notebook, things like what the course objectives and standards are, or having the syllabus posted here. One of the things that I heard a lot from different educators is having something for classroom expectations and what classroom policies are. All that stuff becomes very important, and this notebook is just sort of a good place to kind of put it. I won't go into too much detail here, but this is a OneNote-based notebook. And as an educator, I can come in here and just easily edit this. And I could also open it up in OneNote and edit it that way as well. And on co-teaching this class, we're doing some projects with a language arts teacher called Robin. Her name is Robin, and she also has permission to edit this notebook as well. But for students, this becomes read-only. And so that's where we start getting into some of the permissions there. For the sake of time, I'm going to hop back to our U.S. history site and just talk a little bit more about the structure of what we're putting together and how this works. So a couple of things are just essential to making a classroom experience work. First of all, of course, is having your syllabus and having it posted. But the syllabus doesn't sit on its own, right? The syllabus is what there's a relationship between the syllabus and assignments that you create, and student responses to those assignments and different projects. And so the syllabus to us becomes a, this syllabus is actually built, and can be provisioned using pacing guides that are available. So in this case, it's really just a pacing guide for U.S. history, which is 8th grade history here in North Carolina, where I happen to be based. And we can see that there's not too much to this, just a list of the different main units and the dates of when those start and stop. But we do have some other capabilities in here where if I come in and wanted to add a new item to this, I can do things like make it a subunit to another, so we can have a section underneath the unit. We can also target it to individual students if we wanted to, different sections. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that we can do based on the way that this syllabus environment is structured. But the most important role of the syllabus here is that it really becomes the central sort of hub to some of the other experiences, namely the assignments. So I'm going to jump down to assignments next. And assignments is, of course, where we can publish assignments. The teacher posts them there. The students come here to read them. As a result, the permissions set up here are pretty simple. The administrator can read and write this, and students can only read it. But some of the important things here that that we wanted to do with this assignment environment is when we come in and we create a new item here, we can do a couple of different things. We can first of all, we want to select from one of those, from something on our syllabus here. So if I'm creating a new assignment as a teacher here in the civil rights movement here, I'd select that unit, and that's going to link these things together. And as students respond to the assignment, it makes it very easy to stay organized. One of the more interesting things here is I can also identify a specific group or a specific user that I want to access this particular assignment or to view it. And so we think about this with students that are on structured plans for to assist with their learning, students that need that extra assistance and are on different programs to support that. Teachers have a lot of responsibility to provide that individualized experience for those users and to help students learn in the way that's most comfortable for them. And so in this case, we're doing a project here called the Living History Project, where students will go out and interview civil rights leaders in their local area, people who are related to the civil rights movement in a variety of different ways. And so that's a great assignment, and many of the students are will go ahead and move directly into the first stage of that assignment, the first part of that project, rather, I should say, of building the biography. But some of my students need a little more assistance with the language arts piece, and so I might have a biography outline as a specific assignment for those students. And when I come here and I'll put in a specific student here, I'll say Carrie first. I could also have a group identified for students that need a special assignment. But I can give the instructions here, and I can, of course, put in a due date and time, for that particular assignment. And so in this way, I'm helping out these particular students. If I want, I can also put in a particular project name as well. And that's just one of the organizational elements that we have, so that all the assignments related to a specific project are in one place. And so what happens here is, as the educator, I can see all of the different assignments here, including the the ones that I've just added. But as the student, I'm only going to see those ones that either have not been assigned specifically to a student, or those ones that have been assigned specifically to me or to a group that I belong to. And so in that way, we're going to see that sort of individualized experience. And to show you that, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears here and come in as a student. So I'm cheating here a little bit. I'm using Chrome in this case, and I'm also using Firefox, and that allows me to be logged in as multiple users on the same machine. And that's a bit why we're looking at Chrome here. And you'll see that the experience is pretty much the same across the different browsers here. And give me just 1 second. I'm going to steal the address. And that's really because I just don't have this user set up yet as following the site. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as Carrie. She's the student who I just gave that special assignment to. And so I'm going to log in as her. And you can see here that this is that outline here, that only she has visible. It's targeted directly towards her. I'll log in a little bit later as another student if we have some time, and show you that it doesn't actually show up for that other student. It's specific to her. And you can, of course, always hide this particular field as well. I do it here just for demonstration purposes. In practice, I would hide this particular field so that Carrie doesn't necessarily know that she's getting special assignments, or special help there. But we'll keep Carrie logged in here in just a moment and come back to her. So we have the assignments. We've seen how they line up to particular items in our syllabus. And then, of course, we'll talk about the assignment Dropbox here in just a moment. But before we do, I just want to go to this class calendar item. So this is a little bit different than you might think at first glance here. Not quite sure why my assignments aren't coming up, but we'll go ahead and do that. But the idea here with this particular calendar is that I can actually view the calendar, and there we go. Not quite sure what happened there. But this calendar, this is really just a view. This is not a separate list. This isn't something else that I have to maintain. What this is doing is this is taking the dates from that syllabus and sort of spreading them across the calendar for me, and taking the dates that are for specific assignments and providing that integrated experience so that I don't have to think about creating a new calendar view or things like that. I just set it up as a view once. And, we could have other things here too, an additional calendar if we had, field trips or something like that coming up in here. We might have an additional calendar. But the point is that it comes from other lists that we have, published to our site. So the last piece here is really the assignment Dropbox. This is really the last piece before I sort of get in, and I'll talk about what the experience is for some of the students, some of the other more exciting things that we can do once we have this environment set up. So in the assignment Dropbox, this of course is where students are going to come and respond to a particular assignment. And I'll show you that here in just a moment with Carrie. Logged in as myself, I'm the educator in this case, and so by default I can see everybody's assignments, and as it should be. One of the interesting things again about how we have this set up is that as an assignment Dropbox, you want users to be able to come in, and when a student posts something to that assignment Dropbox, even though it's the same list, the same library, you want to ensure that they only see their work unless the unless the teacher approves it or wants to sort of highlight somebody's the good work that somebody did on a particular project. And so that's exactly what we have here. As the educator, I can see all of this. I'm going to come back here, and I'm just going to show you what Carrie's environment looks like here. And she'll go to the assignment Dropbox. And we don't have assignments for everything here, but she's got a couple in there. And we can see the assignments that she's posted here, but we can't see any others. And she didn't do anything special with this. It's just the way the library is set up and some of the customization that we've done for this environment. And while we're on this, let's go ahead and we'll just submit an assignment here. I'll just drag and drop. And even though this isn't hers, we'll just give it a different name here. And we can literally just drag and drop the assignment responses into that library, and you know, they'll show up here as soon as it loads up. One of the while that's loading up here, I think with the webcast going, my network is a little bit challenged here, so it's going to take a second. But while that is loading up, one of the things that you'll see again is that we will relate this document. So this is not just a document library. It's actually has a relationship to the assignments, and therefore has a relationship to the syllabus. And of course, it's identified as the students as well. So as the educator, when I come in here, there's a lot of different ways that I can sort and filter this different information. So I can, you know, while it might look like one big list with no folders or anything like that, having you know, it related to specific things makes it very easy for me to say, you know, I want to see all of the you know, I want to see all of the civil rights memorial projects here, and I can just filter on those, you know, or I can see from specific groups of students or specific students. So my PowerPoint here is loading slowly but surely into that assignment Dropbox. Once it's in there, actually, one of the things that happens is depending on how I open that up, one of the things that happens here is it opens up a form, and I have to choose, this is a required field, I have to choose what assignment this is related to. So in this case, it's the Civil Rights Memorial assignment. And another thing that was requested by some of the teachers that we spoke with was an honor pledge. So just a simple checkbox that forces them to say, yes, you know, I didn't receive help on this. This is actually my work, and I can save that. And from there, it'll be, you know, I can go ahead and submit that and check that in for you know, for review there. So that's one of the ways that we get the assignments up there. However, I want to just talk a little bit about how this really plays out in the experience of you know, working on this stuff. So as a student, I might add an assignment simply by going to the Office web apps, which we see here. If you're familiar with Office 365 or Live at EDU or even Microsoft's Live services, you might have seen the Office web apps. This is a companion to PowerPoint that allows me to come in. I can edit this presentation right here from the web app. One of the more interesting things actually happens, so when we look at editing this from PowerPoint, in this particular environment here, and once my PowerPoint loads up, it actually looks like it won't let me do it there. So what I'm going to do is I'll open up just another example here and show you what this looks like. So with the assignments, so like this Word document, which is also a response here. In this case, this is a response to another assignment. I've actually provided a template for this. And one of the things is just by publishing a template into that assignment library, it shows me all of these properties that are part of the document. And so I can go ahead and do things like change the honor pledge and stuff right here from within the document itself. I don't have to do all of that on the website. when I go and I try and save this up to that website, it's going to prompt me to fill out those required properties, and they're just a part of the document that travel with it. So I know that we're being pretty tight on time here, so I just want to go back and it's just a quick sort of round robin of some of the other stuff that's happening here, and what turns this into a really kind of exciting environment from our perspective. So we have the assignment Dropbox, sort of a different way of doing document management, one that really makes sense for that classroom experience. But some of the other things that we're leveraging in this template and we have set up, we have custom view here, so it shows upcoming assignments for that student just based on the homepage. They don't have to go searching for it. And I did want to just talk about surveys and the Newsfeed. So I'm going to log back in here as Carrie. And we want to create learning environments that are really engaging for students. And so getting them to participate and communicate and discuss things is a critical part of that experience. Something that SharePoint Online does very well, and something that we harness for our templates here. Again, just for the sake of time, I do want to open things up here for questions, a few minutes at the end for questions, and talk a little bit about the provisioning process. But just a couple of different ways that this plays out is we have like the Newsfeed, for instance, where I can do things like post a picture and ask for people to reply and give me what their thoughts are on this. And we can see we have a lot of activity and responses here. I can also like specific responses. So in one situation where they're talking about living history, somebody suggests the idea of using musicians and sort of focusing on that for their project. So I might go ahead and like that. Another thing that I can do is I can follow living history as that hashtag. So if we're doing a field trip to the Civil Rights Museum, I can go ahead and do a hashtag here, and it's going ahead, and what it's doing is it's creating sort of a pulsonomy here as part of Office 365. So those hashtags become things that I can follow and my students can follow. Last but not least, there's more that we have going on in this, in the template. So I encourage you, once they're published, to explore them. Some of the other things that we have are things like the daily survey that the teacher can go out and publish and get student responses. So there's a lot of that that type of engagement and collaboration that we see in this environment here. So with that, I'm actually going to jump back to my PowerPoint here, just to be respectful of everybody's time here. And I did want to just talk about the other quickly the other components here and what's going on with these. So we mentioned that the site templates are one thing, and that's what I just showed you, and we're going to continue to develop those out. But also provisioning. We have a provisioning engine to take student information that's in a particular format and populate this environment with that to create all those class sites. And then, of course, there's ongoing maintenance and support. A little bit about that provisioning process. It's really as simple as taking a defined emailing B2b a CSV file in a defined format that we provide you. And what that provisioning process does is archives the old classroom sites, creates the new ones, gets rid of the student permissions. Teachers are set to read only on the old class sites for the archives, and then everybody's permissions are set for the new ones here. And then, of course, in between, we can provide some guidance on how to maintain these sites, so adding and dropping users and those types of things. And so with that, I know we've only got a few minutes left, about 4 or 5 minutes by my clock here. I just want to say thank you and open it up for questions. I appreciate everybody's time. Definitely feel free to email me, contact me directly. I'd love to talk to you about this more, and we'll be sending